Hello from Austin, Texas. Look at this. The world's first electric limousine. I know that because there's a little sign on the side that says it. I have seen pictures of this car online, but I have never seen it in person. And I genuinely was just driving down this road from our hotel, looked to my left, and boom, this amazing, majestic beast sitting here for us to look at. Let's take a quick tour. Roof, absolutely garbage. It's an old Leaf, so you know the battery is not doing well. And it's so cool. Look, it's full limo tint. This is Don's first fried pickle. Good morning from a very windy Austin, Texas. The car is here at our hotel on the Charger, charged up to 100%. It was an amazing last couple days at Fully Charged Live at Circuit of the Americas, which is the massive F1 racetrack here in Austin, Texas. Met a lot of great people. Thank you to everyone who came up to say hey. We are driving back here from Austin to North Carolina right now. Don is going to get breakfast at the hotel. I'm of course going to get Starbucks. Starbucks has been picked up. We are heading back. We're not back, but we are heading back to the hotel right down the street, going to go collect Don, and then we will head to Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
What a guy. What a
there
guy.
You go.
This guy is the best.
So our first stop home is going to be Cape Girardeau. I don't know how to spell it. G-I-R-A-R. Oh, there it is. Cape Girardeau, Missouri. I have EVTV Jack's address in there somewhere. So on the way over, we came this way. Just so you can see, we went like this and then up to North Carolina. We're going this way up, and then we'll probably cut down to Nashville and then over. So we're doing a big circle. We are in Italy, Texas.
Italy, Texas.
That's right. We've arrived at 23% and we ripped it. Just said autopilot basically at 90 the whole way.
Yeah. It's like, I never knew. You know, they say, oh, autopilot's limited to 90. That is a limitation.
It is. I'd go faster if they let me. Tornado out there.
You can only have one door open at a time. I couldn't get out this door. Kyle left his door open and the wind was trying to close the door on me. I couldn't get out.
That's crazy wind.
One at a time.
There goes the other car. They pulled into the trailer spot. You know, tip, don't take the ones that you pull straight into. You save those for the bike racks and the trailer guys.
Yeah.
And here we are ramping up. We should see pretty good speeds. I hope the battery was preconditioning, so it may not be totally warm, but we're ramping up, so this is good. Looks like our next stop, the car wants us to go to, is Sulphur Springs, Texas. So we're gonna go through Dallas, around, and I don't see any chargers along our route, so we definitely have to hit that one. So let's see how many miles it is. Car's warming up. 121 miles. And what was our efficiency to get here?
Yeah.
Must have been good. I think it was great because we had that huge tailwind. Yeah, it was only 314 at 90 the whole way.
Yeah, we were doing the honest, folks, 90 miles an hour pretty much the whole way. You know, every now and then we were down to 75 or something. Oh,
sure.
He would. What was it? We need to slow down to 80.
Right for the right. But I think 121 miles. That wind, we're heading in a different direction.
Yeah.
So we should probably charge just a little bit of a buffer in case. We are charged up to 60%. This supercharger over here, it's not looking so good, that post. Anyway, we obviously we told you how windy it was.
Yeah.
But we checked the Windy app, and there's a huge tailwind between here and Dallas. So let's go.
I mean, perfect.
Basically, it's going straight up. So we should see really good efficiency on the first leg and really not too bad. We'll have a full side wind heading up across this way here, though. And we'll arrive in Sulphur Springs at 9%, which I think is enough buffer to feel comfortable, especially with this wind. I think we'll be more than fine. Do you agree?
Yep, I agree. Yep.
So we should go. So the route, if you can see here, we didn't take the main highway that goes around. The supercharger goes right through the middle. This looks like a beautiful little town. I don't like that it's not right off the highway, but at least we can carry in the same direction. And the supercharger's right over here. So this worked out to be okay. Well, another perfectly timed stop. We are here at 9% in beautiful Sulphur Springs, Texas. Honestly, this little road over here looks amazing. And still really windy as expected. We're starting to charge. And let's see, I think Texarkana is our next stop. So before we run and see where we need to go, which is there, is there a supercharger in between? Nope. So this has to be our next stop. Oh, it's not far at all. 90 miles, probably 100 miles, 96 miles. So we'll charge up to 50%, run the charging curve, and then we'll head out. That will be perfect. Look at how pretty this supercharger is. So nice. This is a beautiful little town. Very nice. We are charged up to 55%. We, I believe, have more than enough range. We just went to go explore the town a little bit. We're back in the car now, probably overcharged by a few, but that's okay. So let's unplug and go to Texarkana. Another trip with easily plenty of buffer. We are in Texarkana and we are at a restaurant. Is it an Olive Garden? It is an Olive Garden. And there's an Outback. I prefer Outback myself. I hate to admit it, but I don't love Olive Garden. Let's get this plugged in and we'll plan our next stop. So this is what the rest of the trip is looking like. Really easy trip today. We'll arrive in another 480 miles, no problem. There are no superchargers in between Texarkana and Little Rock, so we're definitely going to go to Little Rock. And then there's no chargers along this stretch of 40. However, the problem with this going up north is it's asking us to go into Memphis and back out of Memphis to go north. And this is probably a very unlikely route to be traveled often. So that's why the superchargers don't quite add up with where we want to go. However, there's a Electrify America CHAdeMO charger, you know, right off the highway, somewhere around there, that if we charge up in Little Rock until we taper below, let's say 45 kilowatt, then we can plug in an Electrify America here, and it'll do 125 amp charger. So we'll get, you know, mid 40 kilowatt speeds, as long as the pack voltage isn't crazy low, which I don't expect it to be. And then we will stretch it just enough to get up to this supercharger in Minor, Missouri. And that's probably about the same amount of time as it would take to get in and out of Memphis during rush hour, but it would just be a little bit different, interesting, and fun to use the adapter. So we'll leave the supercharger network just for a little bit here, just for fun, more or less. We have had a great charging session so far. We just hit the taper point. This thing just sat at 147, 148 kilowatt the whole way through. No complaints there. It's 132 miles to Little Rock. However, we're going to charge up with a buffer since the speeds will be high, and we'll just use up whatever extra we have in driving quickly. It, I imagine, is relatively flat ground going. Actually, it looks like we gain some charge, so we'll be going downhill at least a little bit, so that's fine. We are charged up to 67%. I'd say we have more than enough buffer to get to Little Rock. 12%. We're gonna just drive easy to begin, and we'll use up the rest with speed. In this supercharger, we're gonna do a long charge, probably to 85, 90%, maybe, yeah, probably 90%. And then we're gonna try to arrive to that CHAdeMO with as much pack voltage as possible. I was just talking to Don, it would be almost better if the CHAdeMO was a little bit earlier so that we could arrive with 60-ish, 70% rather than 20 or 30%. Because that way the pack voltage would be higher, because it's a fixed amperage level at 125 amp at that particular CHAdeMO. Now there is a risk, a very little risk, that CHAdeMO doesn't work. And what we will do is when we are at this charger, we will check the Electrify America app, because they show real-time charger status to make sure that that charger is online. At that point, I feel comfortable enough that we can make it. And then we'll head on up. So pretty easy. Oh, 2 other Teslas showed up. I didn't realize. Don's gonna take on this leg. So everyone hold on real tight. Driving been an easy trip, listening to the Autonocast, a few other podcasts. We're at a rest stop. He just went in to use the restroom really quick. We're only about 40 more minutes to our supercharger. Everything's going great. Arrived in Little Rock, Arkansas at 12%. We had huge tailwinds, great efficiency, 303 watt hour per mile. Really, really good for, again, 80 miles an hour-ish cruising. We are not going to go to Memphis as mentioned. Let's take a look to see how far it is to the CHAdeMO station. And the idea here is we're going to keep us plugged in at the supercharger, and we're not going to leave until we ramp slower than CHAdeMO speeds. Yeah. Well, we just had a great lunch, honestly, at the food court here at the outlets, and the car charged up to 92% right now. We really didn't wait any extra time. This is about as long as it would have taken anyway. Do you agree?
I totally agree.
Yeah.
I mean, we ate as fast as with normal pace, restrooms, and here we are, and the car's done.
Yeah, so we're gonna head to the CHAdeMO. The good news is now, even if the CHAdeMO doesn't work, as a backup, we can make it to the Memphis supercharger. But I hope we don't have to do that, just for fun, and then we'll grab a hotel somewhere just after that point. So I'm gonna unplug and we'll hit the road. here at the Chatamo station. If it would let me pull up the camera, you can see Electrify America here. We have 250 miles. That's if we go through Memphis. So let's see, 200 miles to get there. This is the one we really want to go to. So let's see the distance, remove charging that we need to charge up to. So it's only 170 miles. So we need to add 28% to get to that supercharger dead. That's going to definitely be easy enough, and we'll put some buffer in. So let's get the Chatamo hooked up to Electrify America. So we are charged up to, I think, 80%-ish. It's so cheap. It's almost as cheap as home electricity. Certainly a little more expensive. Everyone thinks Electrify America is expensive. It's not, depending on the power level your car can pull. For Chatamo with Teslas, this is dirt cheap. Anyway, this door just happened to be open. Really, it was. I mean, I think someone forced their way into this before because this pin was broken, but there's something pretty cool in here. First off, these are the cabinets that feed the posts. There's 150 kilowatt, 2 of them output, and 2 350 kilowatt CCS posts. But take a look at this. I'm pretty sure this is a giant ass battery because it says energy storage utility lockable disconnect switch and battery meter. So I think that this here is the giant battery storage on site. And you can see they built this with future proofing in mind because the conduits run to put even more chargers in. So even though Electrify America may have had a little rocky start with software and getting the chargers up and running, they overbuilt the stations by far, and it will, no question, currently is arguably the best non-Tesla charging network, and in many respects already better than the Supercharger network. Well, we were having fun geeking out, walking around Walmart, but we're charged up to 86%. We'll arrive in Minor at 12%, so I'd say it's time to unplug and go. Essentially what we've avoided is driving in and out of Memphis, well, I assumed at rush hour, but hey, it's always fun to find new charging methods. Again, we're in no rush. We are seeing Jack Ricard at EVTV tomorrow morning, and so we're just kind of killing some time heading up to the hotel now. So to stop charging on an Electrify America station, what you do, you can't just unplug the car. Well, I guess you could, but you just click this, you click stop. Those are our stats, by the way. And then, yep, unplug. You get 10 minutes to unplug before they start charging you. So you unplug this bit first, and then you unplug the Chatamo adapter. Yeah. There you go.
Not bad.
Not bad.
Not at all. The Chatamo, looking at the wear marks, I'd say it's been used a little bit.
Yeah, we had saw in PlugShare a lot of Tesla owners use this station because there's not great supercharger coverage through here.
And this is not hot. It's warm, but not hot.
And what would you think about your first Electrify America experience?
Very positive. I'm quite impressed. The quality of the equipment, the cabinet, the usability, everything worked like it was supposed to work.
Yeah, I was as well. This was a great experience. All right, we're off to the next. Arrived in Minor, Missouri at 9%, perfectly planned, huge tailwind the whole way up. Kind of hard to find this supercharger. It's at a Ruby Tuesday, which I'm feeling like for dinner. One of my favorite places.
318 watts per mile since the last charge.
318 watt hour per mile was really good for this car. This whole trip today has been amazing because we've had that tailwind
all the way.
It's been really great, and I can feel it's real strong.
Yeah, still strong.
It's really strong. Let's get this thing plugged in. Man, I would not want to have to go the opposite direction today into all this wind. Good morning from Cape Girardeau, Missouri.
Right, liquid sunshine today.
That's right. We were charging up last time in Minor, Missouri, and I completely forgot to continue the video.
I was probably running my mouth and confused him.
Well, we were doing a lot of talk education.
Yeah, we were on pretty deep subject, that's right.
Right, about alternating current, power factor, right.
Cadence, things like that.
Yeah,
you know.
it was really interesting. So thanks to Don for putting up with my little squirrels in there working as hard as they could go. But we charged up to 80% and completed the charge at that supercharger. and then we drove up here about 25 miles. So the car's right around 60%. It sat in Sentry mode overnight.
Yeah.
And so we stayed at the Holiday Inn Express and Suites. It's always a good go-to, better than any of the hotels.
I agree.
So right now we're gonna go to Starbucks.
Yes.
And then,
We're gonna go see Jack.
right, so many of you guys may not know Jack Ricard. We spoke
Yeah.
about it a little earlier, but how would you explain Jack, what he does?
Jack is one of those guys who he's helps do-it-yourselfers, the guys who like to, take control and do things for themselves, especially in the sustainable energy and electric car. He used to do electric car conversion. He's ahead of the curve.
Yeah, way ahead of the curve.
Yeah, he's a big user of Tesla, believer in Tesla. In the fact that Tesla really is going to disrupt the automobile industry, and has. I mean, he's been talking about this since 2009. So he is not one of these young pop-up guys. He's been talking about this for a long time.
Yeah, he's really a forethought kind of guy, and he has an amazing shop. We'll show you. It's really wild. The whole thing runs off of solar with 100 kilowatt hour battery storage that he built.
Yeah, he does. He calls it his Power Safe.
Power Safe 100.
He's not trying to sell them, but what he's trying to do is facilitate you being able to take Tesla batteries out of Model S and X's and safely build you a Power Safe in your home with an inverter and the various different components that you're going to need to safely use a Power Safe and manage it yourself. And so it works on the schedule you want, not that Tesla's Powerwall and there's app and all that stuff isn't good, but
this is just bigger and badder.
Right.
That's right. So we're gonna head over there.
Yep.
Starbucks first, and we'll go hang out with Jack for who knows how many hours, but it always is gonna take a while.
He's my idol. I swear to God.
Right. So I'm not gonna rush Dawn out of there, so we may get home real late tonight, but that's okay. No rush.
I agree.
We're driving to Nashville, Tennessee. We had a great time.
Yes, absolutely.
We just entered the state of Illinois over the bridge leaving Cape Girardeau. We have a 205-mile trip. We are at 100% charge. Well, now we're at 98. We left at 100%. Actually, 99. BMS was a little confused from all this road tripping. That's totally fine. The car predicts we'll arrive in Nashville at 14%. I'm pretty confident this car can do 205 miles, especially because we're taking mostly back roads.
Right.
We're not going to be on the highway.
Right.
So we'll give it a go. We'll see how it goes, and Nashville's our next stop.
But it is raining, and rain does affect range, and it's a little cool. It's 45 degrees.
45 degrees rain, but the speeds will be low, and 200 miles this car can do it at low speed.
Good.
Yeah. We have cruised through the back roads and we are now on the highway, and we are getting horrible efficiency here. Just cruising at 80. We probably have headwind, of course, the resistance of the water on the ground. This is no problem since there's a supercharger directly on our route to Nashville. Kind of doesn't make sense we have to go up to go over, but this is how the car was routing us to Nashville anyway, and we were going right by this supercharger in Cuttawa, Kentucky. So we are heading there, and we'll do a quick little juice up because I'd like to arrive at Nashville pretty empty, as it's a version 3 250 kilowatt charger, and we'll see if we can actually get some fast speeds, unlike my previous road trip where V3 charging was a little buggy. are at 43%. Let's get this thing plugged in. We're only gonna be here for just a couple minutes, I suspect. Just a little top up so that we can arrive in Nashville empty for version 3 charging. I wanna see 250 kilowatt.
When we get to Nashville.
That's right. We are charged up to 61%. The car is predicting 16% arrival. I'm gonna unplug. I went a little bit over because I can burn the excess as in the form of heat loss by driving hard, also warming the battery pack to try and get maximum speeds on version 3. So there is a method to my madness, but let's unplug and hit the road. We have arrived in Nashville, Tennessee at the version 3 250 kilowatt charger. We're at 10%. I hope the battery's all heated up. It didn't precondition or anything, which makes me think we are at normal temperature for supercharging. This rear tire's been getting a little low, so we gotta maybe top that up. I think it might have a slow leak. It also did this last night. We bumped it up this morning. So I'm gonna plug us in and see if we can get 250 kilowatt.
Seen higher than I've ever seen in a car, because Ruby's gotten up to like 148, 149. There it is, 168, 170.
This is where I had issues last time.
Yeah.
Well, we're past that. Come on.
190. Come on, 200.
Come on, 200. Don't
Oh,
count.
come on.
Oh, no.
Oh. Oh. I jinxed it.
Charging up at the Nashville version 3 supercharger, and we were unable to get above 199 kilowatt.
Boo hiss.
Yeah, I mean, the pack was warm. Not sure what else we could have done. This is now the 5th time I've tried V3 charging recently and have not been able to get above 200 kilowatt. Previously, 6 months ago, it'd go right up to 252 kilowatt actually, and it was all good. So not sure what's going on with the software on the cars to allow for fast charging, or the actual charging itself, the units. But yeah, we're down to 136 kilowatt at 34%, which is less than like a version 2 would do.
Right.
So that doesn't really make much sense. Anyway, we're back to the trip. We'll just kind of get over that one. Our stops are basically Nashville. Now we're heading west to go home.
Yep.
And so the car wants us to stretch it to Knoxville from Nashville. And that is, let's see how many miles. So that would be 165 miles, which means we would have to do a pretty deep charge in the rain to do that. There's also Cookeville right along the way, which is where I stayed on the last road trip overnight, right down the street from the supercharger. There's a bunch of hotels, but we could make it here pretty easily, right? And we'll just charge up to the taper point and go, and that's the best, quickest way to go. So that's exactly what we'll do. We'll charge to 50%-ish, and then we will head out, go to Cookeville, then Knoxville, Asheville, Hickory, Greensboro, home. Welcome to Cookeville, Tennessee. This is about, I don't know, 3 minutes off the highway. It's not the best scenario, but not the worst. We're going over to that Taco Bell over there, and we're gonna plug in, and our next stop will be Knoxville, which we won't need much energy to go. So I imagine by the time we get there, eat, use the restrooms, we'll have more than enough energy to make it to Knoxville. We will not likely have enough to make it to Asheville. We'll likely do a quick stop in Knoxville, quick stop in Asheville, and figure out the rest of the trip, but that's my prediction. All right, let's plug in. All right, we're on 4A and B. We have ourselves an open cabinet. There's one other car here, a Model X, so we will get full power. Not that they affect any of our charging, but this is all that affects your charging speed, is if someone here is here or not on the A's and B's. Well, we just had a great dinner at Taco Bell, and we are headed back, or headed to Knoxville. I'm not quite sure of the distance, but we're gonna figure it out right here. So we will easily make it to Knoxville with 47% projected. Again, we were just having dinner and charged up. However, our tire pressure is dropping again. We're down to 27 PSI on the back left. So we're gonna fill it up with my air compressor that I'm glad I brought. So we're gonna find a spot to pull over. It really doesn't have to be anywhere in particular. I'm okay getting wet.
Yeah.
And we'll fill it up with some air. Bojangles, thank you for your light. Filling it up. We are all topped up with air and we're ready to hit the road. I bet this will hold at least till we're home, or almost till we're home. We get about, I don't know, 400 miles or so before it starts asking for air. We are in Knoxville, Tennessee. I'm a regular at this Supercharger, and we need just a little top up, probably about 20%, and we will make it to Asheville easily. Beautiful night out, no longer raining. Nice Model 3 over there. I'm gonna get us plugged in. Don did a great time driving. We talked a lot about uranium-233, 235, and thorium-234, and why some nuclear reactors, I don't know, do this, that, the other, blowing stuff up. Because we went by the nuclear bomb area on the way over here, which is powered by the Fontana Dam, which is where I always go. So kind of cool. Just ran inside Walmart to use the restroom, and we are at just about 70%. The car is predicting a 15% arrival. I'm gonna say it's not actually expecting as much elevation as I think there is, but we'll see. Either way, it's a beautiful drive in. We won't see much of it at night, but we should arrive at Asheville at 1:25 in the morning. So let's do it. In Asheville, arrived safely and easily. Let's get the car plugged in. We are going to likely go to Hickory as our next stop, although we do have the option to stay here for a little while and stretch it to Greensboro, but we'll see what the car asks for. Usually I just stop in Hickory, then Greensboro, then home. Well, in just a matter of minutes, we are charged up to 40%. Don's going to take on this route for us. I'm going to try and take a little bit of a nap, and then we should be able to make it to Hickory. Just a quick little top up. You can see here the car has already tapered significantly at 40%. So this number is dropping sooner and sooner. I don't know if this has to do with more DC charging on this car and the profile is getting more conservative, or the pack's cold, or the supercharger's unhealthy, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. Welcome to Hickory, North Carolina, and pretty good parking job here, but that's okay. And we're plugged in. 6% arrival, perfectly planned. We are having not really charging issues, just slow charging in Hickory. Charging on this post over here. Moved down, the car ramped up to 150 kilowatt, no problem, and then tapered hard to 96 kilowatt, only at 20%. Not quite sure what's going on, but honestly, we don't need too much juice. It's not worth moving again. We're just gonna hang out, charge up for like a couple minutes, and go to Greensboro. We have arrived in Greensboro, North Carolina, our last supercharge of the trip, perfectly timed at 2%. Basically, we had extra. I used it up in speed. So let's plug in, get this thing charging up. And then we'll sort of figure out, because I'm going to drop Don off at his house, how much energy we need to add, and then I'll plug in at my house when we get there. We are charging up over here at maximum speed. Just ran in to use the restroom. We should charge up to about 55%. That will give me enough range to get to Don's house, drop him off, and then get back to my house. So that should work perfectly. We should be able to get you back home around 6 o'clock in the morning.
Sounds good.
How was your, since this will be sort of the last clip.
Oh, man, this has been an absolute blast. Enjoyed the trip, learned a lot.
Yeah, it's been fun having you along.
Yeah.
It's great not just sitting alone the whole time.
Yeah, great conversations. My poor talks his ear off, poor Kyle.
No, I loved it. I learned a lot about electrical engineering and nuclear power, and yeah, it was really
A lot
good.
of topics, yeah.
A lot of topics, yeah. Well, all right. Well, I guess we'll charge up here, and then we'll drop you off.
Sounds good.
We are charged up pretty high, up to I think 68%, something like that. Anyway, way more than we need to, but that's okay. We were just geeking out about the install here. The transformer doesn't output enough power to run all of these cabinets at full blast. So we are wondering what's in that white cabinet. We couldn't figure out. Maybe it's battery buffer storage. We don't really know. It could software limit the whole station if everything's plugged in. But either way, let's go drop Don off in Fuquay Arena. We are dropping Don off on his birthday.
On my birthday, that's right.
That's right. Yeah, happy birthday.
Thank you very much.
And you enjoy your time. Go get some rest.
Yeah, I will.
Go to bed.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And I'm going to go home and do the same.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Thanks, enjoyed it, buddy.
Yep.
It really did. Thank
See you later.
So much. Yeah.